All right. Seems like we got some attendees trickling in. We'll give everyone a few minutes to join. Thank you all for attending. Uh, just while we wait, let's make sure we do our audio checks. Bimmel, Brittany, you able to hear me okay?
Yeah, I get you.
I can hear
Yep.
you.
Great. Well, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to join you, Bimmel and Brittany, to talk through Veem and Fulfill. Should be an exciting one.
Absolutely.
And as you guys are joining, you'll see a pop up and a poll come in asking you about the solutions you utilize and how you're managing payouts today. So please fill that out. It'll help make sure we're addressing the right types of questions and based on kind of what you're interested in. So please feel free to fill that out as you are waiting for this to start. Everyone gets settled. We'll wait for you all to trickle in. It's going to be a fun one. Whether you're here to get actionable insight, to ask burning questions, or simply just listen and learn, we're glad you're here with us. So while we wait, if you have any questions for myself, Bimmel, Brittany, about Veem, Fulfill, feel free to throw those into the Q&A as we're going through the session. We'll either address it in real time or come back to it at the end of the session. So definitely feel free to throw those in there as we're going through this. Awesome. So it seems like trickling in has slowed down a bit. So why don't we kick things off? I know we've given everyone a few minutes to join. Let's start with some intros. Bimmel, why don't I hand it over to you to kick things off?
Absolutely. Thanks, Kabir, and thank you everyone for joining this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. I am in San Francisco, and it's a beautiful day here, high 60s, so cannot complain. In terms of my own intro, I head up partnerships here at Veem. So I work very closely with Fulfill and the team over there to kind of offer you this solution, which comes integrated into Fulfill. I've been with Veem for 3 years, and prior to that, I've worked in Citigroup in their payments business, and I have been in doing investment management for a while after that. So nice to meet you all, and I'll hand it over to Brittany.
Thank you. Yes, thanks guys so much. My name is Brittany. My title here at Veem is Customer Success Enablement, which is just a fancy title for team trainer, essentially. So I make sure that everybody coming into Veem who's already working at Veem is up to date on all of our new processes and anything new is happening. And outside of Veem, I am a proud mom of 5, so I spend most of my time momming when I'm not moving. Kabir, all you.
Thanks, Brittany. Nice to meet you all. My name is Kabir Samtani. I'm Chief of Staff at Fulfill, and really that means I work closely with our partnerships and product team. So very familiar with the solution that is Fulfill with Veem and how it can benefit all of you on the call today. And I'm excited to kind of walk you through what that looks like. So why don't we kick things off? And so as we move on to the next slide, I'll give you a brief intro into what Fulfill is. So Fulfill is the only cloud ERP designed to efficiently scale 8 and 9-figure brands. So I won't go through all of the modules in depth, as you can see here, but as an ERP, we do have financial management, order management, inventory management, and purchasing and purchase planning, as well as if you are doing your own fulfillment, we have a full warehouse management system, as well as production if you do your own production in-house. So have a little bit of everything depending on what your needs are. And if we go to the next slide, what's different about Fulfill as an ERP is we were purpose-built for e-commerce and really omni-channel merchants now. So no matter where you sell or how you sell, you can manage your orders and inventory within Fulfill. It gives your team a single source of truth for accounting, fulfillment, production, inventory. So there's really one place that the entire backbone of your company runs off of, and you have very clear data. And we work quickly with your team to get you live. So you're working with the Fulfill team through and through, and we see go lives within the 45 to 90 day period. So we work with a lot of fun and exciting brands that we like to highlight. So you can see those here. And I'll pass it over to Bimmel to go over what the Veem solution is.
Thanks, Kabir. So the key takeaways on this slide, 3. 1, we do both payouts and invoicing, but to be honest, we are really good at payouts. And either your suppliers, contractors, so it supports both B2B and B2C use cases. It supports both domestic and international payouts. And it's a very easy process to do payouts versus what you're doing with your banks. So that's point number 1. Like, we are really good at payouts. It's a holistic solution. Number 2, it's a scaled platform. So we have now actually close to 1 million customers who have joined this platform and who are using this either for sending or for receiving payments. And we are backed by a pretty good set of investors, as you can see on this slide. So that's takeaway number 2. And then takeaway number 3 is that we are licensed as well as secure. So we have money transmission licenses similar to what a bank would have in all the 50 states as well as all the provinces in Canada. Those are the 2 markets where we do domestic payments. And then we also do international payments to 110 different countries in 80 different currencies. So it's a wide range of currency choices and payment options that are available to you. So those are the 3 key takeaways on this slide. I want to talk about what are the problems we solve for you, both Veem and Fulfill. So I'll start with Veem and then hand it over to Kabir for talking about Fulfill, right? The question is why Veem, right? What problems do we solve for you? And the first problem that we solve is just easy payouts, right? If you think about payouts, it's a cost. It's a cumbersome process and a cost to you. You might have either 10 suppliers, hundreds of suppliers, some contractors, some domestic, some international. And when you're working with banks, it's a very cumbersome process because you have to do a lot of processing on your own. And that's the process that we simplify. The second problem that we solve is, and this is particularly true in the context of international payments, which we do really well, is the high cost of wires. So on Veem, we do not charge any wire fees. So it's a huge cost save, especially when you have multiple payments to international locations, either to your suppliers or to your contractors. Like we have a lot of customers who have both supplier payments as well as contractor payments. And imagine you having 5 contractors, some sitting in Philippines, some sitting in Brazil, some sitting in India. And if you have to pay them twice a month, it's a very cumbersome process. B, it's very costly because you're paying wire fees to your bank. We do not charge that. So that's the second problem that we solve. And the third problem is, with partnership with Fulfill, we are making reconciliation easy for you because it's an integrated solution. Right from Fulfill, you can submit payments into Veem. So that's a huge time save for a lot of businesses. And that's a problem that we solve. So I'll hand it over to Kabir to talk about Fulfill.
Thanks, Bimmel. So there's a long list of problems that Fulfill can solve depending on the modules you use and what the business needs are. We want to highlight a few that are pretty consistent of problems we hear that usually mean it's the right time to implement Fulfill. So if you're having trouble managing your inventory and products are overselling across their channels, it's a great time to use Fulfill for your listing management and ensure your inventory is tracked effectively across all the channels you might sell it. If you're losing inventory visibility across multiple fulfillment nodes or location, again, Fulfill gives you that one single source that will enable you to track all of your inventory across those locations. And then getting accurate COGS, and this ties into the AP management features that obviously connect with Veem, but getting accurate costing for your products in real time based on the payments to your vendors, the landed costs that might get associated like freight and duties, and any service fees that are also incorporated if you're vertically integrated. Really getting those costing incorporated into your product so you can have far more accurate margin control. And the one that's not listed here, but will lead into the kind of integration benefit is AP management and being able to see what invoices are due, when you have to pay your vendors, and then to Bimal's point, easily paying your vendors with the integration with Veem. So I'd love to move to the next slide where we talk about the integration overview and how it works. So with Fulfill being your GL and your source of truth for accounts payable, you'll have the option of how you want to pay those bills that are due. And when you have the integration configured, one of those options is paying using Veem. So once you choose that option, it'll create a draft invoice in your Veem instance to then be able to approve and pay your vendor there. So if we pop into the next slide, you can see what that looks like after the invoice is created and posted in Fulfill, and you choose that option as shown in the last slide. It's a draft payment in Veem that shows you the amount, who it's going to, and what the due date is, so you can then pay the vendor directly out of the platform. And once that's done, it will close the loop in Fulfill and indicate that the invoice has been paid. So it impacts your GL immediately. There's no manual reconciliation. Did the wire go through? Do I have to mark this as paid in the ERP? It all flows seamlessly between the two platforms, and your accounting team shouldn't be asking those questions going forward. If we go to the next slide, I can pass it over to Bimal again to talk through some of the benefits of Veem's global payments.
Yeah, so before I go into the slide, so Kabir gave you a little bit of overview on how the integration works. It's really simple to set up, right? And we will help you. We will handhold you through that process. So if you're interested in either getting a demo or just actually get started, please feel free to reach out to us. You can just if you want to go through Veem, you can just send an email to partners@veem.com, and then we'll give you a product demo and we'll take you from there. So maybe Brittany, if you want to just type that email in the Q&A so the people know how to reach out to us if they are interested in enabling this integration. But just talking about the key benefits of using Veem in this integration. So first is automation, right? So we are big on both Fulfill and us. We are big on saving time for you, making your lives easier through automation. And that's what we have done. The heavy lifting we have already done through this integration, and it's easy for you to kind of take all the bills and then make payouts against those bills directly from Fulfill. So that's point number one. I talked about no wire fees, right? So I'm kind of repeating here, but just want to make sure you understand that is one of the key reasons people use us, because it's easier, B, cheaper to do this versus doing it through your banks. Third is payment tracking. This is very important. We provide real-time payment tracking not only to you but also to your suppliers and contractors, who can track where exactly the payment is. And if for some reason there's an issue with the payment, they can check what the reason of that stuck payment is. But this is like, think of this as your FedEx package, right? It gives you real-time payment status for every payment of yours, so that you have good visibility into your cash flows also. And same thing with reporting and reconciliation, right? Like, we provide you really good information on the payments so that you know how to manage your cash flows and you know how to reconcile your payments all in Fulfill. So next slide. So want to talk about this special offer. We really appreciate you taking the time. We want to, get you off to a good start. So we want to give you a $250 credit, and this would be applied on your first payment, right? For any payment that you make for more than $1,000, will credit you $250, right? So essentially, you will make less, you will fund the payment with that much less of an amount. If it's $1,000 payment, you will essentially just pay us $750 and we'll remit the full $1,000. So we want to make this available to you, and this would be applicable to your first payment. This is just a thank you gesture to get you started. So it is an offer that is available to you if you're interested in availing that. And I believe that's the last slide, Kabir, unless you have any closing remarks.
No, come on. Who doesn't love free money? Well, we can end there, but we definitely want to leave the room open for some questions. I know we talked through a lot of information about what Veem can do for your business, what Fulfill can do for your business, and the power of the integration. But if any of you all who are attending have any questions for us about either platform or how the integration functions, we are happy to answer them now.
Okay, and while people are taking time to kind of write down their questions here, we did have a couple of questions that came in before the webinar via email. So maybe I'll just get started asking you guys those ones while people take a minute just to put the questions in the Q&A. So we're going to start with one. It'll be geared towards you, Bimal. It's a Veem question. So the question is, if I'm already using my bank for vendor payouts, what's the benefit of switching to Veem? Like, why would I switch to Veem over using the bank?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, right? I get that all the time. Like, hey, I have a bank. Why should I use Veem? I would say three reasons. One, we are much easier to work with. It's when you're making payouts through your bank, it's very cumbersome. Let's say you're making supplier payments, contractor payments. There's so much information that is required, and the information varies by whether you're paying a domestic vendor or an international contractor or a vendor, and we have streamlined all of that into one single flow. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is cost. Like, we are much cheaper than using the banks. We are cheaper both on the wire fees as well as the FX we charge in case you're doing currency conversion. And then third, 4.5. So, we always are available for you 24/7, either via chat or email, and that gets reflected in in our Trustpilot ratings.
Perfect. And then I can see some questions coming in, but I have one more email question, which is going to be directed to you, Kabir. Does Fulfill give visibility into when bills are due?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as I mentioned, your entire AP register will be run on Fulfill. So as the invoices get posted, you can have terms associated with those invoices, and that will impact the due date. And so all of the aging invoices get tracked, the exact due date gets tracked, and you can trigger it to go to Veem on the due date or a certain number of days prior to the due date, depending on when you want to trigger that payment. So it definitely gets tracked and fulfilled and gives your team and your AP team the visibility they need to effectively track the due dates of their invoices. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, and then we have a question in the Q&A from Olivier, which is asking, can I pay my suppliers in foreign currencies? Which is a fantastic question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes. So we allow you to pay in whatever currency you want. If you want to make payments to your vendors or contractor in USD, we support that. If you want to pay them in any foreign currencies, we support 80 currencies. So we will do a currency conversion for you, take your USD and then convert that into foreign currency. Our FX rates are very competitive, and we allow you to pay that exact foreign currency to the receiver with no wire fees.
And similarly in Fulfill, you can obviously track the payable in whatever currency you want to. And so we do the conversion and track it against your base currency of your entity as needed. So if you have different vendors in different countries and you need to track your AP in those different currencies, you can as well. And we can trigger that to Veem accordingly.
Okay, so we have another one in here. Bimel, looks like it's going to be towards you. Does Veem reimburse purchases that were later found to be fraudulent? So payments, I suppose, that are later found to be fraudulent.
Okay, so it depends on the situation, right? So if typically we are not involved in like we are not like a card company which are basically saying, hey, if you're not happy with with your purchase, just call us and we'll refund you the money, right? So we are just facilitating the payment. Having said that, if there is a fraudulent activity on the platform, for example, like instead of you, somebody else logs in and sends out the the payment to somebody, that's a different situation. But if there is a situation where you buy goods and you're not happy with the goods, that's not what we typically get involved in. But it's again, it depends on the situation. So I don't want to give you a answer to a hypothetical question. It depends on the situation. I'm giving you general guidelines in terms of when do we get involved versus not. But in any case, what we do is if there is any disagreement between you and the receiver, we facilitate the process where we work with you to figure out, hey, if they want to issue a refund, we will work with them to issue you a refund.
Awesome. I think that covers all the questions that are in the chat right now. Give people a few more minutes if they have any others. I know we booked this for the full hour, but we anticipated it being half an hour. Just wanted to make sure people block their time accordingly. So since we're not seeing any questions come in, thank you all for joining us today. And you'll see a message in the chat in terms of where you can go if you have any further questions or if you're still interested in Veem or in Fulfill, and if you want to get that welcome offer as well. So again, feel free to check us out and look out for a follow-on message with the recording and some more information. So thanks again for joining. Really appreciate your time.
Hold on, I think there is one question.
So there we go.
There is a question. I'm not sure that I fully understand what you mean with the question, though.
I'm going to assume it's just up. There we
Oh,
go.
there it is. It just wasn't finished. Okay. When funds are debited from the account, if it's a holiday. So do we debit on holidays? Is that what you're asking? Yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so when it comes to actually money moving, we essentially follow kind of the same guidelines as banks. So we process payments on weekdays, so not weekends and not holidays.
That should answer the question.
Before or after? It would depend on when the payment came in. So if the payment came in when it was ready to go before, we would debit when the payment's ready to go. If you were to send a payment that came in on a holiday, we would debit the next business day. Hope that answers the question. If you debit, will you debit my bank account if I made a payment the evening on a Friday, it would be debited the following day.
And we are happy to, just reach out to us. We are happy to, answer much more detailed questions on payment process.
Absolutely.
But in general, if you have scheduled a payment on a holiday, we will debit the money on the following business day.
Awesome. So yeah, feel free to reach out to partnerships at Veem if you still have questions about that specifically, or partners at Veem. Sorry. And yeah, thank you all for joining. And Bimal and Brittany, it was great to coordinate this session with you. Learned a lot about Veem. Hope you all learned a lot about Fulfill. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks everyone for the time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.